Hey, before we kick things off, I want to talk about the presenting sponsor of this show, and that's Miller Lite, because it's easy to feel nostalgic in the summertime, especially when you've got a beer in your hand, but not just any beer. It's the Miller Lite that is 96 calories and tastes like beer and is perfectly brewed for bonfire stories and memories in the making. Spoiler alert, Kate is joining us on today's show. You can't enjoy Miller Lite right now because you're pregnant, but
I will say I genuinely love Miller Lite, and it was the Midwest that got me into it, going to the Indy 500 every year, and that was our
that was your
ice
beer.
Cold Miller Lights all day.
Nothing better.
Thing.
I remember that about you.
Yep, I'm dreaming of it.
Exactly. We'll get there. We'll be there soon.
Yep.
Why don't you name this next kid Miller?
It's
a nice name for a boy or a girl.
I'm thinking about it.
Sponsored baby?
Miller Excellence
Slap
Cassidy.
a couple tats on them.
If anyone wants Miller Lite, hit me up. Mama needs a new crib. The little kegerator on the end of it. Yeah.
That'd be great. Make unforgettable summer memories with Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/redline. Or let's be honest, you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Just make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, bang, bang. Welcome to the Mid Show. As you heard, we have Kate joining us. We also have the director of morale joining us later in the show to talk some Cubs. And I'm sure White Sox Dave will be breaking down the White Sox trade deadline. But like I said, we're starting with Kate. Kate, welcome. It's great to have you in studio.
It's great to be here.
It is nice to have you in studio.
I know I'm a broken record. I said it before the show. I love it here. I love Chicago.
You said that a lot.
I thought you meant like that
and
spot
you can tell it's
at this desk with us.
I cannot stop saying it. I thought I was okay in North Jersey. I thought.
Yeah.
And then I got here and I was like, I was not okay. This
North
is
Jersey
amazing.
is the armpit of the country.
You're having like culture shock, but in a good way.
I'm like, why are people being nice to me? What the hell? Are they going to rob me or something?
Thank God you moved in the summer.
I'm like loving it. Everyone's so friendly. I don't know. It's a good vibe. So I'm glad to be here.
What'd you say, Danny?
I said, thank God he moved in during the summer. I feel like it's a whole different ballgame come winter.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But I feel like it's worth it.
I think that's
Do you
overrated.
think that's a good time to have a baby? Is right at the beginning of winter? I feel like it might be.
The best. I had my last son right at the start of March Madness. And so the whole time, that first month, that's like you're just in the suck of it. I could have basketball on the whole time when you're stuck in the thing. So March Madness, baby, is perfect timing. This one,
You're just tweeting your bracket busters.
yeah, tweet my bracket busters. I was in the contest. I'm like, Dave's texting me. He's like, I don't care if you just had a baby. You better text and social media bracket busters. But yeah, no. So I hope. I feel like because you're in like a zombie mode for the first few months, so I almost feel like I'm going to be blacked out in a way through winter this first time.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm kind of like, yeah, this is fine.
It's kind of good though too, because you're getting like a little taste of summer now. Then obviously you're going to have the baby, but you can't booze now.
Yeah.
But then you're going to go through a harsh winter. You're going to enjoy 2024 summer like nobody else.
And I don't want to brag, but I have a roof deck. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty good roof deck. That's always been a dream of mine. And the guy who had it's a townhouse in Chicago. It's like a miniature townhouse. Like if Zoolander saw it, he'd be like, what is this, a townhouse for ants? So it sounds cool. It's very small. But the guy who owned it before us was a brewer. He brewed all his own beer. Oh. So he built this big standing bar on the roof deck. And he had a kegerator and all this stuff. And I'm like,
he's got those big tanks, like the distillery tanks.
I want to carry on the tradition. I want to be...
That's kind of
boozing on my roof after I have my children.
Boozing on the roof, using Pat's equipment to make a porno in the basement.
Yep, plenty of equipment.
Did you know that, Kate?
You're making a porno?
I do have an OnlyFans.
Oh.
It is Katie Money Grabs. Katie Money Grabs with a Z.
Do you post often?
I used to. I was making like $15,000 a month. I swear to God,
you assholes!
I know, and
$15,000 a month.
It was the first month I did it that I started because I saw how much some of the other ladies were making, and I was like, and so I think guys signed up for mine not out of horniness, but out of like morbid curiosity. They're like, "What's that look like?" And so I got a bunch of guys the first month, and then all I did was post like jokes. And the drop off was so steep. And I still, it's like Phoenix International pops up on my bank. That's like what the money comes in as. And every month now it's like $380 from Phoenix. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks to the 12 guys who forgot to unsubscribe to Katie Money Grabs.
You're welcome. During that month, during that month, did you make a big purchase for your kid or Pat? Like, is there something like that's an OF
Did you make
purchase?
a fuck you purchase? Yeah.
I think I like pretty much paid off the car
okay.
with it.
All right.
I finished paying off the car with it. And like people for like 4 months, people didn't unsubscribe because I was like really keeping up with like innuendo jokes and kind of teasing like I was going to post stuff, but I never did. And again, the other thing I did was if you paid me $50, I let you send me a dick pic and I would roast it for you. So guys,
That's actually a nice little, that's funny.
So guys,
how many of those did you get?
A lot, because guys are anonymous and they want somebody to look at their dick. And I was like, I'll do it for $50 and I'll tell you what I think.
So you just sat there around all day just like, oh, your dick really sucks.
And I just copy and pasted the same thing. I'm like, hey, you dumb piece of shit. Your
Oh,
dick
yeah.
is
Oh,
real,
yeah.
whatever. I like got real into it and I like kind of enjoyed it.
I need my telescope for this one.
Yeah. It's like, okay, dick. Yeah, I got
Baby
like
dick.
really.
Dick.
And then I realized like I was at work not blogging on my OnlyFans, I was like, I'm probably going to get in trouble soon on my work computer.
Well, you're making more from OnlyFans, probably. Yeah.
So I kind of let it fall. I'm like an idiot. Now that I'm hearing myself talk about it out loud, I'm like, you fucking idiot.
Keep it going.
Pain
I mean, there's a
fast.
real market for that. We had one of the FinDoms on years ago.
Yeah.
This is
And,
like
like,
the old office.
Oh, dude.
That's what they do. Like, apparently there's a lot of guys who like their manhood shamed.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, fellas. Katie money grabs, and I'll also say, my nipples are getting real weird again. Real weird. Size of Haagen-Dazs lids. It's disgusting. Earmuffs don't listen. It's terrible. But maybe if you sign up again, maybe it'll job a little bit. So give it a whirl.
Hey, how does the boyfriend? He's probably all for it.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's probably all for it.
give me cigarette money. And I'm sure, yeah. And then he's fine.
I got wrapped up a couple nights ago. For some reason, I was watching E! And I turned on the TV and it was real true Hollywood stories of the Playboy Mansion or some shit. And it was she's a grandmother now. She was a playmate in the 70s, like late 70s. And she talked about how she got her, like the pictures from when she was in the Playboy spread, they're all on the internet now, and her neighbors are like, oh, do your kids know you do porn?
Oh, yeah.
And she's like the porn grandma of the neighborhood, and it like ruined her life once
It ruined her life?
Yeah, it was like a big deal. And
Really?
like what will happen when these,
Should she turn Amish or something? Why would that ruin her life to do?
And especially
just
like pictures.
she's
like,
getting shit on
now.
from like all her neighbors and
She's not
everything.
getting
Like
penetrated though.
Yeah,
Look,
it's
yeah.
a different
no,
ball
of course not.
I feel like even if you are like, because when I was on Out and About and some of the other shows, like we used to interview like nothing but porn stars before. So like Sherry DeVille, who is Brandy Love, who's America's Stepmom, I forget, and who Flying 69.
Asa
Akira. She's a great mom. And like, I think as long as your kids grow up with cool sneakers and you can afford braces for them. And
Take all the dicks
like,
you want. Yeah.
Have an age appropriate conversation and be like, Mom is paying for those braces, pal.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like,
Braces are expensive.
Yeah, it's kind of sad though that Playboy is just not the iconic brand that it once was.
Yeah.
What is it
Right?
now?
I think it's. I know
It still
they like
exists,
they
right?
stopped
What is
nudity
that?
for a while. I think, or they talked about stopping it and they brought it back. But now I think nudity's back. But like, remember that? Like,
That's
Yeah.
good. No, it was.
well, I feel like too, like the big fake titty era is kind of over. I think it's kind of coming back a little bit though.
Really?
Maybe.
Well, which is it?
But it's
Coming back,
more
or-
like-
I feel like you don't see.
You don't see like
big,
the
Yeah, see. I feel like you see-
1990s fake tits
That's
where you
what
can
I'm
just
talking
look
about.
at them
Yeah.
and like those are fake tits.
You see tasteful fake tits.
They're
Yeah.
tasteful, which is
They-
not
like they,
as fun.
They fit the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like Playboy's era was the
You want the knockers.
Yeah.
The big
knockers,
ones.
You want the girl being lopsided.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
You want her to have back problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scoliosis.
but like,
and
is
all
there
Yeah.
going to be a day where like is your son going to grow up and he's not that bunny's going to mean nothing to him?
It probably is
Probably.
right now. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I remember. So this is probably remember the fake tanning era too.
Oh yeah.
And the
Orange
girls would
tanning,
get
the
I
best.
was into it.
the stickers that would like show you how, and they like the very common one was to have like the Playboy bunny
Yeah.
logo
Oh,
sticker
yeah.
to show you how tan you were.
Yep.
You got that before?
I dabbled. I had a belly button ring, a lip ring, like all the. This guy have a tramp stamp.
Can you show the people the tramp stamp?
I'll tell you what, it's out there. It's on Katie Money Grabs.
Yeah.
I'll post it today. Go
Yeah.
check it out. I'm not giving that away
Yeah.
for free.
Hell no.
No,
Dave.
it's stamped over a really weird birthmark as well. Nobody, this is the
Can you
lunch
just
hour.
tell
You
us
don't
what
see
it is?
I swear to God, I got it the day I turned 18. I was one of those kids who was like super strict upbringing. And then when I got to college, I was like, I'm about to fuck. I'm like, I was like, I'm going to be the worst human ever. And like the day I got dropped off, I went to Big Mojo's Tattoos outside in the boonies of like Pittsburgh Landia. I went to IUP. It's a Western Pennsylvania school.
IUPUI.
It's not a name you forget either of a tattoo shop.
Yeah, Big Mojo's. And it wasn't even, it was like some guy's basement. Anyway, I was like, I want to honor my Irish heritage because I grew up in a real big like Irish Catholic, like plastic patty kind of family, you know? And I was like, I'm going to honor, and I hadn't heard the term tramp stamp somehow because this was a long ass time ago. Look at me. But I got a Celtic shamrock. Nice. And the worst part is the stem ends like right at the top of my ass crack. So it's like, get lucky here. It's like the dumbest, which like wasn't my intention. But I remember when I first got it thinking it was so cool that I would sit in class with like my shirt hiked up a little bit so people would like accidentally see that I was like the cool girl with a tattoo.
See, my take is, I talked to Danny about this before. I think the tramp stamp is not as big a deal as it appears to be. Sometimes I like a little tramp stamp. You know?
Right?
Yeah.
I think
do you like it now?
God, no. I'm glad I can't see it. Every time Pat and I are goofing around, I'm like, sorry. Try not to look at it. Try not to lose your boner. It's there. It's
just
like,
put a piece of duct tape over it.
One of those huge square bandages.
Why don't you get it removed then?
And it used to be like in my dating days, I would have to like, I'd be like, real quick note before you head back there. There's some
but if you say it like that, if you open the conversation like that, sounds like you're gonna say you have herpes. If you just be like, "Oh, it's just a back tattoo," like, "Oh, okay, well, we're fine."
Which in the end kind of works for you. You set a weird tone, and then they feel relief.
Yep.
Yeah. But would you like would that be like a deal breaker for any of you guys?
What, a tramp stamp?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I don't like tattoos on girls in general.
Yeah,
really?
I'm not like the biggest tattoo fan, but it wouldn't be a deal breaker.
Do any of you have tattoos?
No,
I do not.
No.
I don't think I would care about anything enough.
Really, to get it?
I'm Irish too, but I don't think I'd want Celtic.
A Celtic tramp stamp?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, that ends at your butt
Get
crack?
the cross, Chief.
Yeah.
My cousin has one. Yeah.
A Celtic cross. I know a guy who has a Celtic cross, but it's shaded with the Italian flag.
Said
inside.
that's bad.
I hate that guy. I don't even know that guy. And I hate him.
It was a wild
half Gaelic, half garlic under it.
It was a wild move then, and it's like even worse now. The more I've gotten older to realize how bad it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you? Is that your only tat?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That was like.
You peaked.
Oh, got
If you
that.
don't like
I was
it,
like, lesson learned.
Why don't you get it removed?
There was actually a company in Brooklyn who heard me talking about it on the Yak, who reached out and they're like, we'll remove it for free. Like, come
Give us
over
a
right
Twitter
now,
shout out.
give us a
Yeah.
shout out, and we'll take it off. But this tiny little part of me feels like it's a monument to who I am as a person.
Days gone
It's like,
by.
that's who I am, man.
Yeah.
Like, I am a huge fuck up, and I make poor choices.
But Dave, it does tell a story of her life. Like when she sets a stage like that, Big Mojo's 18,
Yeah.
Shamrock. I'm like, all right, I kind of know.
Yeah,
you
no, I get it.
without
There's something
knowing you.
and when I go down I'm a Jersey Shore lady, and when I go down the Jersey Shore and like every other woman I see is like an old mom with a tramp stamp, I'm like, this is fine. This is who I am.
You're a part of the same sorority.
Yeah. We're all, it's like, oh, this is nothing, not a big deal.
I wonder if there's any of your people who thought about subscribing but didn't and saw it at the shore. I was like, hey, dude, like talks to his buddies, like, you're an idiot. I saw it at the beach.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
I want to see that. I want to see the end of that stem.
Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't, man.
Oh man. That's funny. So what else? We pulled up your list. I do enjoy reading your list too, because I feel like you're a very observational person.
Yeah.
And you have good things that you point out that you notice. So
Clearly, she's
every time
tasty.
every time
Tasteful.
she tweets something like that, I enjoy it.
Whoa. One of my subscribers over there.
Tasteful.
Tasteful.
Yeah. One, I thought, because I was here for a bachelorette party maybe like 7 years ago now, but that's really the last time I was here.
Okay.
And the hot dog thing, I see it on the hats, which I love, blah, blah, but I got here and I was like, oh, it's for real.
Oh yeah.
Like every other corner does have a hot dog place, and they all
Tried
have
one yet?
people in them. Yes, I took my son to Navy Pier and got him He had his first Chicago dog.
How'd he do?
Nice.
Yeah, I chopped it up like a lunatic and put it back on the bun like it was a cheesesteak for him because I'm paranoid. But he ate the whole. He like loved it. He liked the pickle, all this.
Good.
Yeah.
Sport peppers.
That's great.
Yeah, he was into it.
There's a good one right by you called Fatso's Last Stand.
Yes,
Yeah.
not too far from me. So I got to check those out. There's water ice places, like Italian ice people call them.
Oh.
They're everywhere too.
Yeah.
I keep passing them, and I didn't think that was a Midwest thing at all. I thought that was like strictly East Coast. Driving, I've had this is like a busy area, no problem parking. I feel like if you moved here from anywhere else besides New York City, you'd be like, oh, this is a little tough, but New York City just beats the shit out of you so hard.
Different.
What is driving like in Philly compared to New York?
Oh my God. I used to work at the Philly Convention Center and at the Wells Fargo Center. I racked up so many parking tickets, like so many parking tickets that I'm like afraid to ever park there again. Like I feel like if I ever bring,
You're a scofflaw like Dave.
yeah. I'll never pay them. But
Isn't there like some weird scam with like the Philly parking thing?
they used to have their own show on like HBO or something
Really?
that followed them around all the time because they were notoriously like the worst, most aggressive.
Yeah, I heard Gillis
biggest
tell a story
dickheads.
one time. Like I don't know, it was something very interesting about like it goes towards like the schools, but then I don't know. It's very
Someone's
very,
skimming.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, it never goes towards
it
whatever.
says yeah, but no, it's not that
Yeah.
bad. It's like a hybrid driving city / like public transportation for sure.
Yeah, no, I love it here. All the little side neighborhoods and all the little
That's like unique, I feel like. We
It's
have so
awesome.
many little pockets that are all kind of different.
yeah.
Last time we hung out, we went to that bar across the street from the office. And you told me that story about your bachelorette party from hell. Have you ever told that?
Which one?
With
There's
Which
quite a
bachelorette
few.
party from
the
hell?
teeth.
Oh my God, the
you ever-
rugby party.
Are you allowed to tell that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
All right.
I could tell that.
This is crazy.
That wasn't a bachelorette party. That was just a rugby party.
just
That
girls?
like a rugby alumni party. I used to play rugby out at IUP, which is part of why I dropped out and why I got a tramp stamp and whatever. Like, it was like we lived in like the Tommy Boy house, and it was just like we were total pieces of shit. But they're all the coolest women on the planet. And when I first started at Barstool in New York, Chaps and I had a Sirius XM show from 10 to midnight. And I got done on Friday. They got a house in the Poconos. This was what, like 2018? And now they're all like moms and teachers and like wholesome people.
Teachers
like,
are wild people, actually.
Yes. And this was a teacher that this happened to. So part of me was like, should I just wait till Saturday morning? Because it's the worst showing up late to a party when everyone is fucked up but you.
Yeah.
But I was so excited to get out there. The show ends at midnight on Friday. I hop in my car from New York City and I head out to the Poconos. And by the time I get there, it's like 2 a.m. and everyone is like 3 sheets to the wind. And now they're into like red wine and shit. So these are like mom teachers who are red wine drunk, free from their kids for the weekend, like whole other level of whatever. And I'm the only one completely sober. Well, one of the girls, and people finally start like dying down for the night a little bit, walks into this side bedroom, and I've like just cracked open my first beer. I'm still gonna have a few anyway. And we hear this like crash, thump, whatever. She fell on her face. It was like 2 twin beds in the middle table and hit her 2 front teeth off the corner. She looks up. She's in a puddle of vomit and blood. I come running in. She looks up and goes, "Am I okay?" And her 2 front teeth are gone. They're just gone. And she just started a teaching job like that week, like a new teaching job.
Yikes.
And I was like, you're fine, you're fine. Some of the girls brought in a spaghetti strainer and put the vomit and blood and were trying to find her teeth in the spaghetti strainer. Other people were looking under the whatever. I have her in the bathroom.
It's like you're at an old gold mine.
Yeah.
You're like
It was like old prospector looking for the teeth, wherever. Someone calls an ambulance in a panic because there was just so much blood. Someone calls an ambulance. The ambulance driver, because this is the boonies of Poconos, it's like a 16-year-old volunteer who rolls up to this like drunk, and he's like, "There's nothing, like you can pay like $1 billion to go like for an ambulance ride, but her teeth are knocked out." And everyone's like, "Well, Kate, you're sober. Can you take her to the hospital?" So like the sun's coming up over the Poconos and I'm driving with this teacher with a cup of milk. We did find the teeth, with the 2 front teeth in it. And
why milk?
Calcium?
it turns out that hospital was like, don't do that. That's a myth. Apparently, like, I don't know where I heard that.
You never heard that? I've heard that. For
Yeah,
sure.
I've never
you
heard
put the
that.
teeth in milk and then the
Oh, yeah.
calcium helps them go back in. That's not true, I guess.
Okay.
But we get to the
The
hospital and
lactic
they're like,
acid probably just melts them.
she's covered in blood and red wine and vomit and she just reeks of it. She's still hammered drunk. And they're like, "Ma'am, have you been drinking tonight?" And she's like, "No, no,
Maybe one.
And they could not put her teeth back in. So so I had to drive. And then she had sobered up by the time it was time to drive back to the house, which was like, again, we were in the boonies. It was like 45 minutes. And we get back to the house and reality has hit her and she's having a full on, and I haven't slept now. And like, whatever, everyone else is passed out. And it was just like, yeah. So anyway, good times. Yeah, no, it was a good time.
So did she teach it? Like, did she go to school?
She left, packed up her shit and left for the weekend to go. She had to, honest to God, I should give her a call. I don't know what she did. Call her up right now. But she didn't talk to any of us for quite some time afterwards. Oh, no. I think she probably had to go get emergency dental, fake teeth.
Well,
chiclets or
I don't
something.
think you said, where'd you find the teeth?
Oh, I think it was in her hand. I think she was holding them in her hands, or they were in her mouth. I forget what it was.
I thought you told me they were into the they were stuck into the whatever she banged them on.
Into the no, yes. You could see.
Oh, okay,
you could see the teeth marks, where she hit. You could see it in the wood.
I thought they were just plunked in there.
No, she had the teeth somehow.
Can of soup.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Horrifying story. It stuck with me.
Did you end up getting fucked up and bang a male stripper or anything?
No, nothing. No, that kind of after that,
kinda
I was
like, it
kind of killed the vibe for everybody. We're all like, I guess we're old now and we can't do this anymore.
They said that circle, let's not get too drunk. We don't want to lose our teeth.
Yeah, Saturday night, anyone's like, who wants to play pinochle and have some nice cheeses? It was a very different vibe after that. So it was kind of a killer.
What were you gonna say? Is any of us lost?
Yeah, have any of you ever gotten a tooth knocked out doing anything?
I have.
You two front teeth?
I have these. You can kind of see it. These got chipped.
Hockey?
Yeah, it was a hockey stick.
Yeah.
And then when I was they were baby teeth, but when I was 7 or 8, and we were playing football at school, and I came down on a kid's head and knocked out my teeth.
Dude, I feel like kids stay knocking each other in the dome. With
He had to get stitches on the top of his head, and I was just like,
it's got to be the number 2 way, right? It's like sports, and then a bouncy house or jumping in a pool, right into someone's dome, like that.
Yeah.
I've seen both of those in my life.
Have you ever heard of the game Steal the Bacon? Stupid kids game.
Steal the Bacon.
It's really stupid.
Great game though. 5
kids or whatever, 7 kids, doesn't matter. Line up in each side, 5 on 5.
Yeah.
You put a ball or football or whatever in the middle, and each kid has a number, and someone calls number 1, and you got to chase it.
Game. Yeah.
My cousin and I were playing when we were 8 or 9 years old, probably, and he's only a year younger than me, almost to the day. And we both dived for the ball. He hit his head. Obviously, I beat him there because freak athlete and all that. Of
course.
I beat him there, and his tooth, it was a baby tooth, thank God.
Yeah.
I think it was baby tooth. Might not have been, but got lodged in my head, and they had to pluck it out. I still have a little scar from it, but it ripped it right out. Yeah.
It's like a bullet. They're like, we got to extract.
My dad's just and I still got a little bump from it to this day.
Did you feel relief when
No,
they
it didn't hurt it. Not from what I remember.
No.
It didn't hurt at all. No.
Okay.
He had to get stitches in his mouth though. I didn't get stitches.
Would you
I just had
rather
the bump.
Would you rather get your nose completely busted or knock your 2 front teeth out?
Nose.
Dave?
I would say probably teeth, because nose you're not gonna be able to breathe at all. Teeth you can fix.
And nose, your eyes get all black and shit, right?
Yeah.
You immediately.
But what is required to repair the nose?
Like major surgery.
I think just setting it, maybe. If it's not, well, it depends if your septum gets knocked out of place.
I'm thinking about how long I'm gonna be able to go without eating real food. That. I feel like that would really bother me.
Yeah, and then a lot of people do the retainer for a while
to get them.
Yeah.
I still do the adult braces at night.
Well,
get my snaggletooth in check.
But you know what I mean, though. But people could take their teeth out.
I had buddies that would do that. They lost them in hockey, and then they would go to the bar, and they would thought it would be it kind of was actually. Those guys actually did all right with girls.
I was gonna say that's right up my alley. If you can smoke a cigarette through a hole in your mouth, through a hole in your teeth, I'm into you.
Mid conversation.
If you drive a semi truck, Kate's here.
Hello, breaker one day.
I mean, speaking of which, semi truck drivers they're some of the most eligible bachelors. Did you see that Taylor Swift story?
No.
She paid $100,000 to him.
Yeah,
or something.
I saw that.
She gave 50 truckers who haul all the equipment $100,000 bonus each.
Was that $5 million total? What's the math that up to?
500, right?
How many truckers was it?
50.
This is embarrassing.
I said
50 truckers at
I don't care what anybody says. I like Taylor Swift.
Me too.
Who doesn't like her?
Me too.
Yeah, people are like, oh, she was born on with silver platter. Dad's fine.
Didn't
like,
she
blah,
start like
people
making hits at 13 years old?
Yeah, she
I don't
writes
think
her own songs.
Yeah.
that old.
I
or
think
young.
she was like.
Yeah, she was
when
really
did Tim
young.
McGraw come out? She was like
Our
a teen.
song, yeah.
She was
she's
like
a
our,
baby.
15.
our song
She
was
was-
like
yeah.
18 because she's a year younger than me. I was a freshman, and I remember like this is the hottest girl ever in that music video.
Yeah.
Teardrops on my guitar. I feel like
She was like
ago.
18.
You
She
were a
wasn't
freshman in high
13.
school?
No,
But no,
freshman
she
in
was like
college.
doing like farm shows at 13 and 14 though of her own songs.
Yeah, she
and
might have
stuff,
started,
yeah.
like-
She was honky tonking.
She was honky tonkin'. That was one of my favorite clips of lately, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
honky
she was-
tonkin'. Yeah.
She was 16 when she released her first album. So
It's 5 million for the record. We're stupid.
5
So,
million.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice move.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, that is.
How do
Those
you
guys
land
work
that
their
gig?
dicks off.
Yeah, to doing that.
To
that
be
would
the Taylor Swift trucker, you know?
Third party logistics companies, nice and easy. I could
Nice
set
and
that up
easy.
in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you think the logistics broker got a little cut of that?
No, not
No?
of that. No.
Wow, Taylor Swift's not paying the logistics brokers.
Yeah, it's
correctly.
fucked
I mean, she probably didn't go through a third party.
I would. Yeah.
Makes you think. No, I think she only gets hate because people
Yeah,
naturally,
when
once
you're
someone
that
reaches a
big,
level of
yeah,
success, like
there's gonna
people
be-
want to
yeah.
tear you down,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
I will say too, like that, like 100 grand. That's an awesome bonus, and everything. But that has to be a pain, and that's a long tour she's on.
Yeah.
Driving trucks in all the major cities like that is a pain in the ass. And then at the stadiums, I don't know if you see where like at each
It's,
stadium
like,
where they have to
back in.
back in
Yeah.
and like unloading and loading, all that shit is insane. Like
That's one of those things that I would never even cross my mind. Like, oh, they actually have to move all this
all
stuff.
that stuff
Yeah.
and get it in
Yeah.
and out. Yeah.
Nah, stages are intense. For some reason, I was watching that Woodstock '99 thing. Did you watch that?
Yes.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we did a show about that.
We did, yeah, but I'm not. I watched the HBO one. Now I'm watching the Netflix one.
Okay.
I know it's been out for like 2 years. So
Well, I've been driving by the Lollapalooza setup because
Oh,
I've been
yeah?
taking my son to like Navy Pier and the other museums and stuff. And it's like, how do they do all that in a week? Like set all that shit up,
Right?
like the logistics of it
Oh,
all and
it's
all
crazy.
the moving parts.
Yeah.
I've
God,
never
fuck that
been.
up. Really?
Hello?
no,
Lala?
never been.
I've been, but I don't ever need to go again.
No.
No. Was
I
it
feel-
bad
it's gotta-
for you? Or?
I think it's
We're just old.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
too old for that.
Yeah.
And then I do feel like it's gotten younger and like more.
It's always been that.
That's
That's
that-
the joke.
I
Like,
rem-
everybody from Naperville's coming into the city this
that's
weekend.
that's somewhere
remember
where you
it.
might knock out your front teeth by accident. We just
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
that happening anymore.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
bring cash around like
Okay.
anywhere down there.
Well,
this
he's
weekend.
going to Lollapalooza, not me. I'm dropping him off.
Does
No
he need
shit.
Yeah.
What
Does he
museums
need
have
any
you done?
drugs?
He might. I don't know what he's up to.
Is he going for the Chili
Just his
Peppers or
mom.
Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish.
Oh, okay.
He's a
Good.
Billie Eilish guy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sea Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you, Kate.
It's great to
This
be
has been-
here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been a lovely conversation.
I feel like I'm on a good cloud
You're
nine
so
right now.
happy. Yeah.
I fucking love Chicago, man. If anybody wants to meet me for a hot dish later on or some tots, let me know. This is great.
Yeah. No, it is good. No,
Yeah.
thank you for hopping on.
Thanks for having me.
Plug the OnlyFans one more time.
Katie Money Grabs, or Instagram and Twitter at Kate Barstool, or X, whatever we're calling it now, but mostly Katie Money Grabs. KATIE Money Grabs with a Z.
Oh,
Nice.
you spiced it up a little bit.
Spice it up a little
With a
bit.
Z.
You should
and-
put like a lowercase x and an uppercase x at the end of each of them, just to really.
I
hammer
might
it
do
home.
it to really hammer it home.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
The link's in your bio, right?
Nipples are
Yeah.
getting weird.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Have you ever? That's like all
I'll come
mammals.
on
I
some
think.
other
Have you
time.
ever seen a pregnant dog?
Yeah, next week.
Yeah. Thank you, Kate. I
Thank
didn't.
you,
I
Kate.
didn't know they changed that much either.
I didn't know that.
To be honest,
Really?
Yeah, that nipples change and then change back.
I
Yeah,
knew like
didn't
the
know that.
size of them, obviously expanded, like the whole
Sure. Yes.
breast, so to speak.
Yes, but I thought the nipples would kind of
Don't-
remain
I-
unchanged.
I feel like I've heard they get super like sensitive and raw.
Well,
like
that's
they're
during
constantly-
like breastfeeding, I think.
Have you ever slept with a pregnant woman?
No,
No.
have you?
No,
Would you?
I've not.
Like pregnant, like fucking about to pop pregnant.
I mean, I think like the obvious answer, like if it was your wife, yes, right? But like,
Going on a first date with a girl's 8 months pregnant.
yeah, and it's like, oh, what happened here? You know, would Would you?
No.
No?
I don't
Not
think
even
I could
your
do
wife?
It. I don't think I could do it, Ed.
Damn, dude.
I think you could with your wife. Have you ever seen the movie Munich?
No.
Yeah, I've seen Munich.
You ever seen it not on TV? Because there's like a pregnant sex scene, like kind of in the beginning of that movie.
Maybe I haven't seen Munich.
Damn.
Then.
Munich a sweet movie. I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. It's like Eric Bana, and then it was like
That's the 38 Olympics or whatever, right?
no, it's the 72, right? Munich, where they had they killed the Israeli athletes, and then they went on like this years long, like James Bond go around Europe and killing all the plotters.
I have not seen it.
It's a very. It's a cool movie.
Damn, your future wife is listening to this, and she
Maybe.
knows you're not going to bang her when she's 8 months pregnant.
I don't know about 8 months, but
Yeah,
Prude.
8 months. That's like a fucking beach volleyball or beach ball in your stomach.
all right.
I don't even know how you do that logistically.
You think about it.
I understand how the act of sex is performed, but like that seems like a lot.
You get the Davy jackhammers. That's not too small of a job for you.
It's too big of a job for me.
No, sorry, that's what I meant to say. It's not too big of a job for you.
I think it is.
I disagree. I disagree completely.
With an attitude like that, maybe.
Danny, yeah, Danny would.
Got to give the wife what she wants.
Yes, exactly. Come on.
No matter how weird her nipples are.
All right, so we do have Fred coming up, Director Morale on Twitter. Going to talk about the Cubs, but we could start with the White Sox. A lot of changes, maybe not as many as you thought.
I wouldn't have been surprised either way. Obviously, the big chip that you were talking about, Cease, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
You can do that in the winter.
Yeah,
it's not going nowhere.
he's not going anywhere. The Whites, I just finished a blog on it. I don't know if it's posted. It doesn't matter because this episode comes out tomorrow. But they are in a better position right now than they were a week ago, heading into 2024 and beyond, probably. With that said, they don't do anything right. So there's not a whole lot to talk about. I did a Spaces yesterday with Jordan Lazowski. A lot of Sox fans know him, Sox on 35th. And he broke it down really well. Like, the White Sox have said they tried to emulate the Braves model of cost-controlled stars packaged around a ton of farm depth. Obviously, they half-assed the farm depth thing. They didn't have any prior to a week ago. They had Colson Montgomery, and that's it. And Schultz, who's 19 or whatever, years and years away as a pitcher. But Rick Hahn said yesterday that after this season is completed, you will hear from those in charge about the direction of the team heading into next year and beyond. A lot of people are saying that is Rick Hahn kind of foreshadowing that he is not going to be the GM. I disagree. I think that based on just hunch and things that I've heard through people closer to the organization than I am, that the only way Rick Hahn is gone is if he resigns himself. I do not think that's going to happen. I would be stunned if that happened. So he is now tasked with fixing this again.
I heard a good floated theory
What's that?
from one of the 108 guys. I believe it was Beef Loaf. He said his hope, the only way, is if Jerry is really disgusted because obviously he was a La Russa guy and it's not working well with Griffel, that he...
Yeah.
Some bad blood was formed over that decision. And he's like, you fucking wanted this. It didn't work out. And he kind of uses that as the linchpin to make it happen.
Everything that's happening in baseball right now is Jerry Reinsdorf's like doing the Mr. Burns. Like, the Mets just sold off with Cohen. The Padres kind of half sold off. All the big time fuck you spenders. The two big fuck you spenders that Pete Seidler and Steve Cohen, Jerry Reinsdorf can't stand that those guys own baseball teams, and he's just licking his chops after seeing all the Verlander and Scherzer gone. And then, to your point, the White Sox are 45 fucking games under 500 with Griffel, and Now Reinsdorf has like plausible deniability with the Tony La Russa hire. So that it just adds to everything. Nobody's in charge there, and everybody's in charge. It's so many cooks in the kitchen. It's bad.
I also found it very interesting too. I went down the line, all three of them. Like, who's the most to blame? And obviously, you think it starts at the very top with Jerry structurally. All three of them were like, we don't like Jerry, but we're way more down with Hahn. Like, we want Hahn out more than Jerry. Like, he is the bigger problem. He's like, Jerry gave him the money. Like, if you look, their payroll's not small.
It was 170 this year.
Yeah, but
like, he picked the players and look where they're at.
No, yeah, everybody for sure. No,
there's probably plenty of blame to go around. I guess like the money thing with from listening to you and just an outside thing. Like you remember that winter when it was Harper. It was when it came time to like get somebody to put that group over the top.
Grandal, Benintendi,
like
Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah, like those are
Liam Hendricks. They're all like $50 to $70 million deals.
It's a lot of money. Those guys. But they like overpay for like average guys instead of giving the big check to the right guy.
They have burnt so much money over the So I was trying
to.
So
that's a Rick Hahn thing.
But is that though?
I mean, unless if like really there is a clamp down, like, hey, you're not going above 100, which seems to be.
Remind me about the Harper thing, because weren't they like? Didn't they like just not ever actually make an offer? Isn't that the story?
I don't know that they never made one, but as soon as Machado tapped out, because Machado signed before Harper that winter.
Mm-hmm. It was a joke, right? It was like $350 with incentives or something, but the incentives were like
it was $250, and he could have made $350.
Yeah, so like
the
White Sox. So
if
it was a bullshit offer. Yeah, it was an offer that they had to make based on the pursuit, the very public pursuit of those two players, and at the last minute, there's not a doubt in my mind, and I don't know this for a fact, but like if you read the tea leaves throughout the entirety of this last 7-8 years stretch of White Sox baseball, there was a point where Jerry Reinsdorf said, absolutely fucking not. Like, we're not paying $300 million for a player. It's like, well, we got to do fucking something, because now the entire world's going to want to like shoot me in the face, you know? So they made that half-ass offer knowing that he wasn't going to take it. But like even then, if you were comfortable paying him up to $350 with incentives and all that, how can you not fucking pay him $300?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to do it.
They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it.
For sure. But Chief, for last year they were the 7th highest payroll in baseball. Yeah. They spent $203 million.
But it's
So that's which is an interesting perspective. And also, like, I don't want to go check out their podcast. They probably get way more in depth and explain it better than I did. Just for note.
But it's also, and Dave, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like he was applauded for doing these deals, and everyone's like, oh, they're so, whereas like we were probably not even worried about the Harper thing if Moncada had turned into the player that people thought he was, and you're probably and if Eloy turned into the guy that you thought he was. Like,
it's revisionist history.
Right, yeah, but that's what I mean. So it's like you get to that 7th highest payroll, but it's like, is there one guy where you're like, we got good value out of him?
Right now?
Probably not.
Maybe Robert. A little bit.
Yeah.
But even then, like, this is his first awesome year. He's had flashes of being awesome in the past. He's been a horse this year. Stayed healthy. I think he's only missed like a game or two. If that. He hasn't been able to line up at all.
In April, right?
Yeah, no, but it was like off days.
Right.
It wasn't like he stayed healthy as can be this year. Knock on wood, that stays the same. But like none of those guys panned out, so they didn't have a plan B. Yeah. Their plan B was to just ride out the bad baseball that they had, and once it was very clear, they had a 10-game losing streak in April. Once it was very clear that these guys aren't who they thought they were, they like.
Well, but that's
hard.
But that's one of those things where it's like, all right, who is ultimately? That's like, to me, where the investigation needs to go, because Eloy, Moncada, like those guys were described as like cornerstone, can't miss type guys. So
not just by the White Sox or
everyone.
What? Yes, everyone.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So somewhere along the way, that went bad. And is that like is it your minor league department? Is it your, because it can't be 30 team scouting
if
departments
anybody
all got it wrong on those guys.
my computer said, I think, look up Eloy's rookie year. I think he had 32 bombs his rookie year, I want to say.
That's what I mean. Like, everybody regressed, and there was the year like Moncada had one really pretty good
he
year.
He was like fifth in MVP voting that year for the AL.
So like, what happened to those guys?
But people want to pin it on the player development, like
31 is rookie.
31. Yeah. I don't buy that really.
I don't know what it is.
Because they're fucking, once you get to Major League Baseball, once you're a Major League Baseball player and, you know, not just like a fringe guy, but like a Eloy or a Mancada, like how much development, like they can't teach you. You got to be on it's on you at that point, you know?
To a degree.
To a degree, a large degree, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, those guys aren't exactly young. They're in their 4th, 5th years in baseball.
I'm not saying they're young now, but like when they first called up. Like,
but that's when I don't think the White Sox, whatever they were teaching them or coaching them or trying to instill in them, these guys aren't completely and totally stupid on how to teach the game of baseball or how to fix, you know, a
you
mechanic.
might need like a guy to do like psyche evals in the future, like genuinely. I don't know what it could be, because the talent, like they have talent.
I will say Mancada, I mean, he got paid after his 2019 season. He hit 315 and he was awesome that year.
Yeah.
Is this Mancada? Who are we looking at?
That's Eloy. That's Eloy.
Yeah, that's Eloy.
Obviously, COVID, then 2 injured seasons. But regardless, he still hasn't bounced back totally.
Yeah, he's got a 8, like he's...
Yeah, but 31, 14, 10, like...
Yeah, exactly.
He's just regressing every year.
Every single year. So, I mean, is that on... That to me, that's largely on the players. Now, you could point to hitting coaches and pitching coaches and strength and conditioning staffs and training and culture.
I think culture's huge.
I think it is
and
too.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I always said I never believed it until the last couple of years. Really, it's like, dude,
culture
going
definitely
fucking
matters.
It definitely matters. I'm not even talking about like as a whole, like organizational structure. I was talking to, I'll just say it. I was talking to Danny Mendick. This was 2021 summer, I believe. He just shot me a call randomly one day, and he was just, so the Durham Bulls and the Charlotte Knights, Durham and Charlotte are real close to each other, so all the players kind of get to know each other, and they'll mingle on their off time and stuff, even though they're in different organizations. He said that it doesn't matter if you're an undrafted signee like post college and you have no chance to exceed past low or advance past low A. He's like, you are taught in the Rays system. That's who Durham Bulls are. They're AAA for the Rays. From the moment you step foot into that first practice or meeting or whatever, they instill, like, this is how you hit, pitch, and we selected you. We want you in this organization because we think we can tap into what you do well. And it's just beat into their brain from like the moment you sign that contract with them.
Right.
And obviously that you see the Rays, they're operating with $20 payrolls every year, and they're good every year for the most part. Obviously, there's some years where they do have to tank,
but it's a fine machine. They got a nice machine.
What was the year 2008 that they made the World Series against the Phillies?
Yeah,
I feel like they've been pretty consistently good for the last 15 years.
Zero resources compared to
and they're
a Chicago team.
They definitely have down years.
Worst ballpark in baseball.
Oh, it's terrible.
You know.
I heard it smells bad in there. It's so bad.
I went there. It was like for I had a hockey tournament down there. It was probably like 18 or 19, and went to a game. It's worse than you can imagine.
And it looks bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, how have they not built something new?
I guess they're trying or moving or I don't know.
Yeah,
but my
should
point
be in Nashville. Is that
they have a different cultural ethos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case for many teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Like the Rays are, but the Rays have perfected that model. But there's simply put, there's blame to go all around. Jerry Reinsdorf has lots of it. The front office does. The players do. Every single person has blame in that organization. I don't know how they're going to fix it. They use their little press secretary, Bob Nightingale, to say that they do plan on competing next year.
My guy.
I saw that tweet and I laughed.
It's just how you have.
Well, everybody's getting raises
as of
too,
now.
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of guys will.
Let's actually get into before Fred hops on here, Dave. Just the trades in a vacuum. I know you're very checked out and you're like, fuck it. I'm not going to care until they give me a reason to care again. But like anything at all.
I said this last night, like back in 2016 when they started the rebuild, I knew every organization in baseball's top 15 prospects. It wasn't supposed to, like, I wasn't supposed to give a shit about them this year, you know?
Yeah,
totally. So
totally.
I see these guys and I'll watch like 30 seconds to a minute of video on them. Sure, they got some good players back, I guess. Maybe. We'll see. Who knows?
Anyone that particularly meets the eye?
That lefty, they traded for Berger, actually. He's got nasty shit. Mm-hmm. They called him a lefty Spencer Strider. Fangraphs did. I mean, yeah, there's a couple nice pieces, but I don't care.
You don't. Yes, where the White Sox were supposed to be in 2023,
was not looking at like middling prospects.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So I get it.
That note, if they would have traded Cease to Baltimore, Baltimore's got some dudes.
Yeah, I don't ever buy that Holiday was a part of it though.
No.
Yeah, there's no way. I know there was some steam on that, but like,
and that's the other thing. Like, so they're long term, and I could be wrong here. Like, they could have been so dead set on just an absurd price point for what they thought Dylan Cease was worth in a trade that they were never going to trade him unless someone just took crazy pills and made that deal. But you keep Dylan Cease and you say you're planning on competing in 2024. 20 minutes ago, you were shopping him. You know? So how do you plan on that one pitcher is going to be what makes or breaks you competing? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, it's just stupid logic.
It's a contradiction.
It contradicts itself because 20 minutes earlier there was all these blue check mark national baseball reporters saying, "Oh, Dylan Cease picking up," like you were looking to trade him. So 20 minutes ago you weren't looking. Like if Cease is gone, you literally have Kopech and maybe Clevenger in your lineup in your rotation next year.
Worked out.
Yeah,
Clevenger,
Kopech,
another guy. Yeah. But like so. And I did some math on this morning. With all the trades entering next year, as it sits right now, they'd be at about 130. I think it was 33 million in payroll, and that's prior to ARB raises. And this year their payroll was 170. So you know that the attendance is going to just plummet. So they're going to slash payroll again because they always blame attendance for their low payrolls.
How's it been so far this year? Do you know?
They had by far. Have you ever seen the site Codify?
Maybe.
They're on Twitter and everything, but they tweeted the percentage increase and decrease for each team on in attendance this year. Cleveland had that like highest in the AL Central. They had like a 4% increase or so. The Sox are down. I think it was 16%.
Oh wow!
From this point from last year. So, and it's going to get even worse now that all these guys are gone.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to slash payroll. So how much how much do you have to work with next year? $30 million to fill 3 to 4 starting pitchers, maybe a fucking shortstop, maybe right field, second base, catcher's gone. You just traded 3 or 4 relievers. They're gone. Like how can you say you're trying to compete in 2024 when you only have like $30 million to spend on free agency? Obviously, trades will happen and you can acquire cheap, cost controlled, but it's like
makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's round and round we go, middling. Yeah, like
Were you surprised that like TA did not get traded or anybody like that?
For TA, no, because I think they're.
Like why are you going to trade these guys when their value's at the lowest?
Look up his contract. I think he's making $14 million next year on a team option. Mm-hmm. They're going to look at that and be like, $14 million for a starting shortstop? Oh, sold. Because the going rate for a starting shortstop is typically double that now. Yeah. A good one. So, no, I wasn't looking at. They don't care about. They care about money more than anything. Yeah, that's it.
But I guess that goes back to your point of. everything they're doing is contradiction. So you're trading away assets to get better for the future, but you're trying to get better next year, but you're trading everybody that could potentially help you get better next year, and you're not going to spend. And there's not, like, outside of like Ohtani, there's not really
exactly
like that free agent class we were looking at
the
yesterday.
Pitchers
it's
are
like okay. Yeah. It's not like, oh, if we spend $100 million on 3 guys, that puts us in the race. Like, it doesn't really look like that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stop it there because we got to get to Fred. If we want to put a bow on it, we could do it after Fred, Dave. But before we get into Fred, I do want to talk about Game Time, the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, created by fans for fans. Game Time is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. If you want to go to a White Sox game, it's the best app to go look for tickets on.
That's for sure. Game Time.
Obviously, same with Cubs. Cubs are
in a pennant race.
Cubs are heating up.
Yeah,
we're there. So
I use Game Time. What was it, Monday night against the Reds, and then I think I'm going to go again this weekend. So always with Game Time, it's always those last minute deals. That's like a real thing. Like you just track it. You just wait.
I think Springsteen's coming to Wrigley. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. So
there's still a lot of concerts. Still got full August of concerts.
And the weather, if you look at it for the 10-day forecast, it is going to be absolutely perfect in Chicago. You better be soaking up that sun. No better place to do it than Wrigley.
Yeah, get those last minute price drops on Game Time. It takes 2 taps, 10 seconds. Right to your phone. The tickets go. No printer needed. Skip the hassle. Enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website. Enter your email and redeem code MID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Use that promo code if you haven't. It's a great discount. All right, let's hop into Fred, the director of morale, talk some Cubs. All right, so here we are. We are joined by Fred, the director of morale. You know him on Twitter. Are also our former coworker. We used to work with you.
He was the first
part of the squad.
ever intern at Barstool Chicago, circa 2013. Yeah, long time ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So welcome, Fred. We've been trying to talk, and now it's kind of a perfect time with the trade deadline just passing, and it looks like the Cubs are in this thing to make it work.
Jed put his balls on the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Did. Yeah, I mean, I listen, you guys can make fun of me for it. I called the season over like 2 weeks ago. I said it was done, and they found a way to string together 9 out of 10 or something like that. And
I think it's 10 out of 11 now.
10 out of 11, whatever it is, and we're here. We're in it. This division stinks. I've said it before. I want to be the kings of the trash. That's what I'm looking for. I just want to win something, and I think we have an opportunity to do that.
Well, and that's a big moment people should know, because let's call a spade a spade. Fred, you're a positive guy. You, some might call you a homer.
That's why I love the Dom.
Yeah, but for you to call the season off, for you to use a Kunstler, whatever, was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think as my time on Twitter has gone on, I think when I first really started locking into the Cubs stuff, it was, pre 2015 and 16, and I felt like the fan base needed some type of lift. And obviously we had never won anything before. And then as like the golden era went through, I was like, this is probably the best baseball we're going to see. So let's just try to ride this train as long as we can. Now we're outside of it. And you need some honesty, because I know I give Jed a hard time, but I think it's pretty deserving. Listen, we're the goddamn Chicago Cubs, and the fact that we were on the verge of selling 3 years in a row, something had to be said, and I think people have appreciated the fact that I won't just be full homer, but I mean, I know I am still a homer. I gas up this team all the time. I'm never going to apologize for that.
Yeah, I would say that you've been more critical of Jed than the average Cubs fan. Like, you've had less patience for how long this rebuild has taken. So.
Well, I mean, when the guy lies to your face for whatever it is, 3 years, I mean, someone's got to say something. I was at Wrigley on Monday, and every time I go there, I'm just amazed by how many people are there, how many people are invested, how much money is being spent at the place, and for some of the PR issues that have taken place over the last 3 years, I just can't fathom that everyone's just gonna be like, oh yeah, this is fine, we're all cool with it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, if it's me, if it's somebody else, I mean, someone's got to say something, because it was becoming to be absurd.
I get it to a degree. I mean, I get it. I get it fully. Let me say that. However, we had this debate in the office, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
This week, yeah.
Yeah, just because they're in the green, obviously probably one of the more profitable franchises in baseball.
They're making money 12 months a year out of the stadium now.
Yeah, I guess, but does that necessarily mean they have to make every move that seems like the most obvious move? Like, I don't know. I'm just one of those people that trust that there's a plan in place.
You were upset when they were buyers and not sellers.
I wouldn't say upset. I thought they should have been sellers. Chief is a big star margarita guy. He just wants to.
All right, this is fucking slanderous. This is slanderous.
He just wants.
There's no problem with Eddie. But why do you think they should have been sellers though?
I just think, based on the track and based on where we are, I don't listen. And I'm going to come off as pessimistic, and maybe it is, but I just don't see. Fine. I don't see us getting past the Dodgers or the Braves. And everyone knew the way this team was equipped and structured going in. This would have been a dream season. Like, we are literally overachieving, and we are
totally
past the mark of what we ever thought would happen. We sat there at the beginning, we're like, oh, like, this is great, but one of the wheels are going to fall off. And somehow we've kept the wheels on longer than we all thought.
But I think the counter to that, and I'm interested to see what Dom says, is that the foundation and the core of this team is on the team right now. It's Horner, it's Swanson, they have like those guys, those cornerstone guys to build around. So why not try while Ian Happ, Seiya, like those are the guys that are going to be here for a while. So if you're good now, you might as well still be good. I wouldn't have wanted to trade PCA for a piece, but like if you have like these foundational guys, why wait? Why trade Bellinger for a guy who's not going to be ready for 3 years and then everyone else is bad?
Prospects are all in various stages. Obviously, I understand what you're saying, but if we get a guy who's more ready and that could be a bigger asset in 2025, 2024, maybe even, like I think that would have been more valuable. But I'm not. It is what it is. I am not complaining about it, to be clear. But I don't know, Fred, your take on that.
We have no stars. That's the reality of the situation. You have PCA in the minors. You have Alcantara, who's still far away. If you trade Bellinger, all right, fine, but are you going to get back the value that I think many Cubs fans believe we're going to get if we do re-sign him, which I know is a big question mark in the future? That's the biggest thing for me. We are a team full of, maybe not full, but with a good amount of good players. We have no great players. We have no stars. We have an ace in Justin Steele. We have Marcus Stroman, who's going through some stuff wherever it is on the field, media stuff. I'm assuming you guys might want to talk about that. But other than that, like we just don't have stars, and you need to win with stars. Like you need to have a guy in this lineup who can carry the offense for a while, and that's exactly what Cody Bellinger did for a month, and that's the only reason why we're on or we're in the position that we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean you're a Bellinger. You don't believe in Bellinger still, right, Dave?
No, I don't.
He is benefiting from. I know the BABIP's really high, and the expected weight on base average is relatively low for what he's doing. But I get it. I guess long term, I just don't see where the star is coming from, because I don't think PCA is a guy that can carry the offense.
He's
I don't think
better
Ian's
Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, I just don't see it. So it's a gamble keeping him. But at the end of the day, like, Cubs fans don't have time to wait forever. They've been told one thing, and an opposite effects have happened, over the course of the last couple of years. So eventually you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is. I know they've done that in other areas like with Swanson, but I just see Bellinger as kind of like, at least now, as like a must-have moving forward.
So if the season ended tomorrow, would you give Cody Bellinger upwards of $100 million?
$100 million? Easily $100 million.
So okay,
I think the argument is it's 200.
Upwards. So 200. So go there then.
I'm getting close. I don't want to do probably north of 200. I think a big issue is he had 2 really bad years and he's had injury problems. So we might just be conflating exactly what he's going to get on the market. I don't mean to like downplay that, but I don't know if he's this like surefire guy, because you can poke holes in parts of his game. With the high BABIP and things like that. So there are definitely some things where you look at and you're like, I don't really know if he's the superstar, but I still believe he's the guy the Cubs roster is looking for. Specifically, the Cubs offense is looking for, considering we have no first baseman. We're PCA. We don't know when he's necessarily going to be here. I know he's up in Iowa. So there's just things that are still up in the air for a team and a fan base that wants to win right now and deserves to win right now.
Why is everybody quitting on Mervis so quickly?
I think it was like a feel-good story, and he really just kind of like crapped his pants. And
he's got 99 plate appearances.
I know, I get it.
He's been better since.
I don't want to give up on him.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up on him, but there's obviously something there that Jed is not fully, in on. And I think at the end of the day, for me, like, not to switch the conversation, but I just want Jed to be right. Like, Jed can make whatever move he wants. I know I will complain at times when I don't feel like we're spending enough or we're being as aggressive as we could be. But at the end of the day, Jed holds, other than the Ricketts family, he holds like the highest seat or the biggest seat at the table, whatever term I'm trying to use. And I just need him to be right. And if he says Mervis isn't the guy, then I guess he's not the guy. But at the end of the day, I'm going to judge, whether or not like this team is going somewhere, making progress, winning games, things of that nature.
What did you think about the moves at the deadline?
I thought it was a great deadline. I don't know if you're a Cubs fan and you don't think it was a good deadline. I don't know what you're talking about. We brought back a world champion, a guy who played a role on the 2016 team, a guy that was here during the golden era, and a guy that's seen the bright lights at Wrigley Field. So I'm here for that. I'm totally in for the Candyman being back.
It's a great nickname too.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that's what I mean. I think that's another part of the appeal for me. And I know this is a meatball team. I find this team to be exceptionally likable. They're an easy team to root for. So you just want to see how high is up, as opposed to let's say it's a White Sox team. And I'm not trying to rile you up, but even when Moncada was going good, he did things that pissed you off. And it was you want to see I like rooting for Hap. I like rooting for. Hendricks had a little resurgence here. I like rooting for these guys, and it would be a shame to me to be like, you know what, you guys did everything you could, but we're pulling the plug for something that might be better in 2 years. So, that's kind of, that's where the big star comments come from. I want to root for this team to the bitter end, and Eddie's just like, well, enjoy your margaritas.
I just want this team to get back to owning the Central again. I mean, I obviously have aspirations to win a World Series and get to championships, but I want to get to the spot where we're dominating this sorry division, because it's so sorry. The Cubs. Listen, the Cubs very well could lose this series. I'm still not going to take the Reds seriously. I'm not. I just can't. I've seen it way too many times. A year ago, their president was like, who else are you going to root for? We don't need to do anything. You guys are going to stay here, giving no incentive for them to, make the team any better. It's just an unserious organization. And that's honestly why I would get frustrated with the Cubs, because we were acting in an unserious fashion, because it's just the division's so sorry. So sorry.
I agree with that for sure. It's definitely time to get back to that division.
Yeah. And it's there for the take. For what in both leagues, it's there are no big market teams really to compete with in the Central. The Cardinals, but they're dog shit right now too. Right. So it does feel like this is the time, and it's a likable bunch. Now, aside from maybe one guy, which is Marcus Stroman, what do you make of the way he's been going the last 6 weeks or so, and then he's absent whenever there's any media around?
There's something going on, and I find it so funny that Cubs fan, I've tweeted about it a couple times, what's going on with Stroman, not just on the field but off the field. Why isn't he talking to media? Dave Ross goes on the radio yesterday saying that he had something to do after the game and he should be at the locker. The following day he's not there. Tommy Hotovy says something similar to the fact of there also might be an injury involved. Here's the bottom line: if the Cubs are going to go after this division, Marcus Stroman has to be Marcus Stroman. And if Marcus Stroman is going to be Marcus Stroman, he's got to be the guy that's dancing, the guy that's yelling in the other dugout, the guy that people love and people hate. And I think Cubs fans in general have treated Marcus Stroman with relatively soft gloves. I don't want to speak for him because I know he would argue that probably gets a lot of hate online. Other than that, I feel like he has found a relative soft landing to come and be part of this happy joyous place that is Wrigleyville. But at the end of the day, without me knowing what's going on, and I'm normally someone that's not like, hey, every single player has to speak to every single media member. Like, I don't necessarily believe in that totally, but for this case, when you're Marcus Stroman and you essentially aired the Cubs organization out and you aired Jed Hoyer out a month earlier, and now you're pitching bad and you're not saying anything and you're not available to talk when your manager said you'd be available to talk, I don't want to say I necessarily have issue with that, because I still think I'm kind of treating the guy with kid gloves, but my antenna starts to raise because I get nervous. Are we going to see, another Marcus Stroman, manifesto exit that he's seen, in the other places he's played for?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, not the good thing, but also the good thing is he's pitching bad. So it's like that's it. That's the end all be all.
Right.
You know
I don't
what
give a shit about anything else. Just pick the ball up every 5 days and shove.
But I feel like he's more complex than that. Like he has to be incredibly confident and he has to show off his swagger, in my opinion, to be Marcus Stroman. I mean, that's his brand.
Yeah.
His brand is dancing everywhere. He's got the shoes. Somehow he gets away with wearing white socks when everyone has to wear blue socks. Like, he just, in a way, kind of does his own thing. And to that effect, like, if it's not kind of working that way and all those things kind of aren't, meshing together, I don't think he's the same pitcher, because he's not a dominant pitch. He doesn't have dominant stuff. He's 92 with the sinker and the slider, but it's nothing that's going to blow you away.
On the flip side, we've seen Tyon go the other direction. Is this kind of a sustainable run that he's been on? Because if he can kind of slide into being able to have the quality starts that Stroman was at the beginning of the year, then it's kind of like you're in the same spot that you were, but it's, I don't know, what's it been, 3 starts, 3 or 4 starts?
I don't have like incredibly strong feelings yet on him, because to me, he kind of looks like a guy that's super hittable. Like, I know the fastball's kind of there, but it's nothing that blows you away. To me, he just looks like a stock righty, honestly. Yeah. And I never played in the big leagues, but he just looks like a stock righty that guys have been dominating all year. And maybe he's found some success here. I just get worried to necessarily, in one way or another, crown him to say he's back. I don't necessarily think he's back, but to his credit, man, he'd get his stuff pushed in and he'd be out there talking to the media the next, right after the game. Like, he never hid from it. And I think that's another reason that I kind of go back to, like, guys on your own staff have had terrible years, like, have been essentially dragged by the fan base through half the season. And they're willing to, like, show up and talk and, be available. And then, like, as soon as something goes wrong, like the so-called ace of the staff, the all-star, isn't there to kind of respond. So that's another reason why I get kind of nervous with all this stuff that's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, based on the nerves, I mean, obviously they proved you wrong since you tweeted that 2 weeks ago, but genuinely, do you think it's fool's gold, or do you,
is this team making the playoffs? Is this team making the playoffs?
I said at the beginning of the year we're going to win 80 games. I think over the last like 52 or 53 games, we've won at like a 94 pace. I think we can get to 85.
Is that enough?
I don't know if it's I've always said if the only way they're getting to the playoffs if they win the division. So it's really going to come down to like this series and then the couple others we have against the Brewers and obviously the Reds again. So I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, it's a fine margin, so I'll just say yes, but I can't confidently say like we're going to run away with the division. The biggest thing for me, and I've said it all year long, I just wanted to compete and win something again. That win could just be like maybe we won, over 81 games, or we're like back into competitive baseball at the end of the season. I realize that my bar is very low, and I should be expecting more because we're the Chicago Cubs and we're one of the most profitable franchises in all of Major League Baseball. But for this season, I just wanted to get to a point where I felt like we were making progress and we were actually like in the position that we're in right now. So I kind of feel like it's a win at this moment. That doesn't mean like we can go and coast the rest of the way. I still have expectations now that we're here, but in a way, I've almost exceeded those expectations. Next year is going to be different. I'm looking for like top of the National League. That might be kind of ridiculous, but that's what I'm looking for. Just looking at the trajectory of how Theo ran things and how Jed kind of said it wasn't going to be a rebuild. So I'm kind of holding him to a similar expectation. But overall, I will say yes, they are going to win it. But the biggest thing is I think we're going to be playing competitive games all the way through September while the Bears are playing, which will be fun to.
That's that's great. And like this streak kind of has to continue. They have the series right because they have the series against the weekend series at home against the Braves. The Mets, who are a disaster. Blue Jays are good. White Sox, Royals, Tigers, Pirates before you end the month with the Brewers. So, like, you got to be winning at this similar clip through the end of August. Yeah.
If we're not, then we're gonna get past relatively easily. But in the end, I don't know I could just reseat myself after this, but Ellie doesn't scare me. The Reds don't scare me. Christian Yelich, I know he's found this kind of heater in Milwaukee. I know they have the better pitching, but I just think it's here for the taking. I just do. It's 4 games. Like, that could flip in 2 series, and next thing you know, we're on top. So the biggest thing that we have going for you is myself and other people, the run differential truthers. We're top 5 in baseball right now. Like,
was it like plus 56
I think we're
or something?
Top 3 in the National League, top 5 maybe in baseball. Like, at the end of the day, like, those stats normally after 162 games even out. So I feel like after a while, considering we added the Candy Man, like, hopefully Stroman picks it up. I feel like probably our best baseball's, in front of us. And in the end, I'm just happy that I can even make that statement.
Yeah.
Because 2 weeks ago, I thought we were done.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So just be in first place on September 1st. I don't think it's too much to ask.
Man, that would be great. Win these next 2 games and show who the dick ballers really are.
Yeah. The old dick ballers.
Well, thanks for jumping on, Fred. You're Dom_Frederick on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to get out there?
No, I do want to say one thing. Dave, can we talk Northwestern for a little bit?
I would prefer not to, but we can if you'd like.
Dave, I know you're a diehard. I'm a diehard as well.
Yep.
Where do we go from here?
I just
want to hear your thought.
Stadium's donezo.
You think it's done?
Oh, no, it's donezo.
They're not doing the stadium now?
No.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
It's not out there, but they're not going to do the fucking stadium.
Oh, okay.
No. They should fucking just join the Ivy League. Those losers.
I'm not there, but I know.
I was joking, but like only a little bit.
Yeah. I know people didn't come here for me to talk Northwestern, but
you
can vent.
Please say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, just it's been tough for me. I'm a diehard. I go to a lot of games. I watch a lot of basketball games, and
basketball will be fun this year.
Basketball is going to be a lot of fun. Fired up for that. I just not to go too much into the fit stuff, but I'm seeing some real dark times ahead. I don't know how we're going to recruit anybody. I don't know. The stadium is so bad. I just worry that this could be a real dark time for a long time, and I just hope they can find someone. Whoever it is, whoever the next head coach is, to turn this thing around.
Throw that Leopold dude from Whitewater and Buffalo and Kansas. Just give him a blank check.
That's a name that I think would do a good job there.
Yeah, he would do an awesome, and he's from here.
How old is he?
40.
60?
Gotta be older than that, no?
I think he is, but I'll look it up. But I hadn't heard that name. I think that he'd be the perfect guy.
I don't know who he is.
They got Skip Holtz. Did you see that? Skip Holtz is the acting head coach this year, or like special advisor or something, and it's only for this year.
Lance Leopold is 59.
I did see that.
59,
I was
really?
just to make it short, I was impressed with how David Braun handled himself in media day.
Yes.
That's a tough spot to be in. We all know that. But I thought he handled himself really well, and he did seem like a leader, in a time where things are obviously like on fire.
I will say I don't think they're going to be horrible this year. Next year, completely different story.
Rallying around. I get it. We'll see. I had to bring it up.
No, it's I root for everything I touch turns to shit.
Anyway,
I got the what is it? An alchemist turns things to gold. What's the shit?
The opposite.
Yeah.
The White Sox Dave. Yeah.
I'm basically Medusa.
That's good. Fred, honestly, it was great chatting, catching up.
Man.
It was. We'll catch you during the stretch run.
Yeah,
absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
The playoff series, playoff preview.
So we're going for it.
There we go. All right, so that was the Dom. Thank you to Fred once again for having him on. And, we can kind of wrap things up here a little bit. Training camp's obviously in full force. I'm loving every Justin Fields report or pass.
It's been nice.
It's been beautiful.
I haven't seen any bad reports.
I saw one today. There was a couple picks. But,
Tariq Stevenson.
Yeah.
Well, look,
bounce, overthrow. It's going to happen.
I did see another tweet. I can't remember who had it, but it was like the defense got the better of the offense in 7-on-7s, and they were getting mouthy about it. Love that too.
I love that.
Love that too, because I feel like the defense is getting no attention this year.
Yeah.
And they did make they invested heavily both in the draft and in free agency on defense. So they're probably tired of hearing about DJ Moore and the offense and Fields a little bit. They might be a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, which I like.
That's where you hope too, where obviously I think everyone's most worried about our front four on defense.
Yep.
That's where you hope that Eberflus is like the X factor, where he can just squeeze a little bit more out of the tube than other people can. And I'm buying that for sure.
Yeah, and
like if you're a little lopsided on one side of the ball, it kind of feels like it'd be better to be a little lopsided on the wrong way on defense.
Especially if you have a defensive coach.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like a maniac like him.
Yeah,
because by all accounts, he's like truly a maniac, like you see. Like he's just meathead fucking like. Hey guys, we got to do this better.
I'm trying to think of who said this. Maybe I'm not going to try to think, because if I remember, it might be someone who shouldn't have told me this. But it was like he was super, like they compared him to Nagy, and Nagy would just be like, guys would make mistakes on either side of the ball, and they would be like, hey, like go make the adjustments and the team after. Eberflus, like you fuck up in practice, he like stops the practice.
Yeah.
He's like, you fuck this up. We're trying to do X, Y, or Z, and like so there is like a heightened attention to detail, which I fucking love hearing that. And I like the front. Obviously, like they don't have the personnel, at least right now, that scares you from a pass rush. Scheme something up.
Yeah,
find a way to get Brisker in there for a few times on the blitz. Find a way to get the linebackers through. Like I feel like you can scheme pressure, especially if you have good corners. So we'll see. I like that they're having success and they're not just getting smoked.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You're right too. I heard the same exact thing. And there's something different when you want to get the whole practice stopped and get called out.
Yeah.
That's something. And then if it's in the film, like, all right, everyone gets called out on film.
Right.
Like that's part of life.
That's part of football.
So yeah.
So I think that's good. And then it's like that. I've seen Kyler Gordon had a pick. I've seen Tariq Stevenson had a pick. Like they're gonna need guys like that to kind of elevate that secondary.
Shout out to Darnell Wright doing the wide receiver.
Oh, I love that.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I would like a little bit more attention to detail from our top pick, but guy's in shape now. And especially the quote the day before from Poles. Would you see that? He's like, he absolutely crushed his condition.
Yeah.
Just reading the wrong fucking form.
The wrong manual.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I got Bears highlights pulled up here. Fields just hit Tyler Scott again. I think he's going to be one of
Tyler
those
Scott's
guys we like.
He's a burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hit him on that had to have been like 60-yard pass, 70-yard pass.
People are talking up Claypool quite a bit too. And I
saw
think
that.
that's what having a guy like DJ Moore, it's like everybody's just now like slotted in the role and in the position that they're meant to be in, which for Claypool, it's just run down the field and use your body, use your athleticism to make plays. So.
And like Claypool, like you just got to be decent, and you will exceed expectations so far. So
that's basically what it is. Like you just have to be like
on the field playing well. Like that's it.
And I do think it is. And he had rough moments even on the sidelines and stuff last year too. But I do think it is very difficult at that position to come into a new offense middle of the year. So you're learning, you're behind everybody, but everybody else is still kind of learning the offense too. Like everybody. So now everyone's in year two.
For sure.
And I think that there's inherent value in that for Fields and for all the relationships with all the wide receivers. So, and now Mooney hopefully stays healthy. And I think they're in, I don't know. It seems like the offense is in a pretty good spot if they can, what was it? Orlovsky said that he thinks the offensive line will be a top half of the league with the additions that they've made.
You hope so.
If you're a top half of the league and you have the most athletic quarterback in the league, that's a pretty good. You don't need to have like the number one line necessarily when you got Fields back there.
I know there's always a shit ton of fluff that comes out of preseason, no matter what sport you're talking about. But Darnell Mooney just told reporters that Justin Fields has the playbook down to a point where they'll be doing 2-minute drills and he'll be calling the plays all himself, which is something he didn't do last year. Darnell Mooney just said that 15 minutes ago.
Like that.
I trust that guy.
I'm like trying to temper myself right now.
I know.
You're not one of the people that put bet on Fields for MVP. Did you see it? I blogged that today.
Well, that's like all Bears futures go crazy. Bears fans are just
no, I know.
Bears fans are just maniacs.
He has more MVP votes or more MVP bets on him than Mahomes, Allen, and Justin Herbert combined.
Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. But it's still better than I remember. Like when Mitch was in training camp, like when they were trying to be like, can he take a step? And it was like, this guy can't complete a ball downfield. Like that was like, they're like, and it was like, oh, we're rusty, we're working things out. But like, it was like, yeah, no, he really just can't. So you like hearing, it's better to hear the good things than to be like making excuses for the
I
bad
haven't
things.
heard shit in terms of like, obviously there's going to be picks from every quarterback. And when you're throwing 300 passes
still
in
very
training
early
camp,
too.
Yeah.
Very early. Got to get to a couple preseason games.
Are you guys planning on heading up to Hallis Hall at any point in the next few weeks?
I hope so. I think we plan on possibly going up there. So details TBA, but obviously we'd love to. So keep your eye out for that. If we do, you guys will know, and hopefully we'll be putting video content or audio content, whatever it is, out there.
I had a shower thought today.
What's that?
Do you think, it's like a White Sox Dave challenge. I don't think the Bears would ever agree to this. But if you and I were running a 40 and Fields was running a 60, and he gave it, so we have a 20-yard head start, and then we don't get tired. But like I pass a baton to you at 20 yards. Do you think the two of us combined with a 20-yard head start?
60, he's like absolute best on earth are like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah. So no.
Nah, I mean, depending on how fast you are. What did I run? Like 5'5"?
Something like that.
You ran a 5'5"?
It was in the
alley.
Might have been a little faster than I feel. No,
I also got hit in the nuts from the thing, so it would have been a little faster.
For the double rolly challenge?
No, from the mic. I put it in my pocket instead of clipping it, and when I ran, it swung around like
for the runoff.
Versus the do to do.
Yeah, versus the do to do.
Runoff. Yeah. I don't know. I was wondering if
they would never in a million years.
I know they would. I know
that'd be awesome though.
Yeah, if they would have let, or like if there's some kind of jugs machine drill that we could do. That's true. He bought one, right? Is that what he said?
I mean,
he did.
We couldn't, but
we should.
In a normal world, we could have done that at Northwestern.
We're not in a normal world anymore.
We're not.
That world is over.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
I mean, I could still ask.
Maybe
him.
not. Yeah, but for a while. All right, then. We'll wrap it there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you to Kate. Thank you to the director of morale, Fred. Tune in tomorrow, Barstool Chicago YouTube. There's going to be a wine challenge with White Sox Dave. And we're going to, basically, it's old school what Prez versus Hank did. He's trying to face Chief. They're bought wines of all differing categories and price. And we will see who has the finer palate between these two guys
like
in hot
wine,
dog hats.
But I don't. Yeah,
I don't need a fucking.
Do you think you know what you're doing with wine?
Fuck no.
Okay.
The few times.
This is like where I struggle with the White Sox Dave challenge sometimes, because I feel like you're hyper confident whenever we're talking about anything else, and then when we're like doing these events, you're like, I don't care. I want that competitive fire. Dave.
That's what I've explained. It's I don't know if fucking I've never said I know anything about wine, so how am I supposed to, like, of course I got trash taste with wine.
You might just have a sophisticated palate.
The one time, I've said this many times, but we were doing Gentleman's Friday with Large and Willie Colon. This a couple years ago, probably might have been 2019. Orville or something Swift. The moment it touched my mouth, I was like, that's the best wine I've ever had, and there's not a close comparison. So maybe I'll do okay.
All right. Okay. I like that optimism. Right. I like that optimism.
How long ago was that? That had to be like 2019, right?
It wasn't 2020. It couldn't have been, right?
It was COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
It was when Barstool Breakfast and Series were still around.
Yeah.
So
2019 probably.
Yeah. All right, then.
COVID's going to be 4 fucking years old in like 5 months, 6 months.
Yep.
It's insane.
All right, then, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. See you guys on Tuesday for that live show. Peace.